Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd.
This astrology report is for the week of March 4th, and we are in it. We are in the eclipse cycle. We have 2 eclipse cycles every year, every calendar year, and we are in the first of those 2 cycles, and we'll be talking about our entrance into the wormhole of the eclipses this week. In terms of planetary action, it's actually a little bit of a quieter week. We, of course, have a ton of lunar activity. Of course, the moon moves quickly and does a lot, and we feel a lot when the moon, comes into all these different moods and aspects. And so we'll kind of talk about the moon's movement this week, and also a pretty big planetary aspect. Well, a bigger one for this week is Sun, Trine, Mars. And this is bringing in a big energy surge this week, and we're feeling that pretty much the entire week. But before we get into this week's aspects, just want to go back and recognize that we are in the retrograded Venus cycle right now. Also, Venus turned retrograde on March 2nd, just a couple of days ago. And so we are feeling this when a planet stations direct or retrograde. It means that the planet is stopped in the sky. And so we feel the energies off of the planet when it stations very strongly. Venus is the planet of relationships and of love and money and value systems and all of the pleasurable things in life. Venus represents sensual matters. And so all of these things are going to be up for edits, up for tweaks and changes, and to be looked at over the next month or so. This is retrograde Venus from March 2nd until April 13th. And that does not include the pre-retrograde shadow and the post-retrograde shadow that we go through also, and where is very much connected in with that initial that initial time that Venus is retrograde. So this is happening in the chart from 11 degrees of Aries is where Venus is going to stop and turn backwards. So right now, as we speak, this report, this week, we enter in with a newly retrograded Venus, having moved into Aries, but very much still belonging to Piscean energy and to the Pisces party. We have the Pisces stellium going on, Sun, Saturn, North Node, Neptune there, and Venus and Mercury were also just there, are dipping their toes both into Aries this month and then retrograding and returning back to Pisces to finish the work there. And this is going to, with Venus in retrograde, make all of our Venusian themes kind of be thrown back out on the table again. Things that Venus only retrogrades once every 18 months and does so for about 40 days. And so we have some time with this. We're just getting set up here. This is the beginnings. But if we had been paying attention to the pre-retrograde shadow the past few weeks, things have been building. There have been Venus themes coming up. There have been things that we know we're going to have to return to. And that's what I mean about Venus being in Aries, but very much belonging to the Pisces energy right now. It's like with the Pisces party, Venus and Mercury were just there, and they have just stepped out. They're like out on the patio for smokes, or maybe they've gone to the store up the street to grab some items to bring back to the party. They very much are going out, but everything in Pisces is expecting them to return, and it's imminent that they are to return to Pisces to finish that work. So their energy belongs there, and all the planets in Pisces are very much calling them back in to finish the work there. This whole Pisces time during March is very, very strong. And we have the North Node in Pisces, which brings in the eclipse energy. When we have eclipses upon us, we know that there are going to be big changes that happen very quickly. It's like it's a slingshot type of energy where the energy is pulled and pulled and pulled, and there's just no slack left whatsoever. And the only way for that energy to be released is to sling back in the other direction. And so this is the type of energy that we're entering into as we have just finished up with that Pisces new moon and are now headed into the full moon lunar eclipse on March 14th. That is a full moon in Virgo at 24 degrees and is the opening eclipse to this first eclipse cycle here. So strap in, get ready for lots of action in terms of going back and revisiting things. The Pisces energy itself is very much about closure and about endings, and it's about returning to source energy and sort of going into that surrendered state, that surrender where we kind of know that the end is nigh, and that also means that the new beginnings are coming ahead. But Pisces is kind of a mysterious energy. We don't have a lot of clear answers and a lot of clear energy when it comes to Pisces. It can be about the grander dreams and those grander visions, but have a hard time focusing on the details, which makes us uncomfortable. And also we have the opposing energy that is uncomfortable with that, which is Virgo. And Virgo is like the opposite. It's all about the details. Details. The South Node right now is in Virgo, and the South Node is about things that we want to walk away from, things that we are trying to put to rest, things that are done. North Node about things we're trying to move into. Pisces with the North Node, trying to move into that mystery. We're trying to leave, Virgo South Node, trying to leave that detailed oriented nature to the wayside at the moment. So it can be conflictive, as all opposing energies are. So that is how we are entering the week. Also with a Venus-Mars square in place. So the masculine and feminine energies sort of squaring off to each other and having just a difference in visions this week and having trouble, finding common ground. And so this is a Taurus moon today on March 4th when I bring you this report, which is an earth sign. It's an earth moon. We like to be very much into our own business and be kind of stiff and fixed in Taurus earth energy. And the moon is our mood. So whenever the moon is somewhere, it's like we're going to be feeling that way. So we're feeling very earthy and grounded and just into our security and our personal possessions. And we have 3 sextiles today, which are all water sextiles with the Sun, Mars, and Saturn. Earth and water come together and create mud. So we have some muddiness to March 4th, where that Taurus moon is just trying to kind of finish up with that earth energy to move into Gemini early in the morning on March 5th. And then on March 5th, we have another planetary conjunction. There's only a couple of, or it's not a conjunction, it's a sextile, but a planetary aspect. There's only a couple of planetary aspects this week, and this is the first one. It's Mercury, our mind, in a sextile with Pluto. Pluto's the planet of transformation and also of endings. And Mercury is our mind and our communication, the way we think and the way we're talking. So on March 5th, with that Moon moving into Gemini, also a sign that's ruled by Mercury. So Mercury becomes a little bit stronger here. We become a little more into Gemini things, which is like Mercurian things, which is talking and thinking and giving ideas and just like, conversating and being kind of airy about things. Gemini is an air sign, very social, very chatty. And so a sextile is like we're having some flowy, easy conversations here with Pluto about these transformations, about maybe some possible endings and deaths and rebirths, the things that Pluto represents. Pluto can be also just kind of the dark things. Pluto represents things that we are generally not very into talking about. It's like the taboo thing. So this day, March 5th, could bring up some kind of conversations about things that we like to keep hidden. Maybe some secretive things, maybe some secrets actually come to light or get communicated or are very easily, communicated and talked about here. And then the rest of the day, on March 5th, we have 4 sextiles and 2 trines that day. Just a ton of action with the moon. And through trines and sextiles, it can be fast moving, free flowing, easy moving energy. So whatever is taking place on March 5th is very transformational, and it's happening very quickly and very easily. And then on March 6th, that Moon in Gemini is curious. The moon in Gemini asks a ton of questions and doesn't necessarily settle on any deep ideas, kind of stays on the surface of things. And the moon makes a conjunction, comes into a conjunction with Jupiter that goes right over the top. So actually we can see Jupiter in our early evening night sky. So you can actually see these two coming together, that beautiful crescent moon out there that was centered between Venus and Jupiter just last night will be right over the top of Jupiter. And Jupiter's some big energy. Jupiter is big energy, and it's in Gemini right now, asking big questions and just can be even over-exaggerating things a little bit in Gemini. And there is a, dare I say, to Gemini energy, there is an ability for Gemini to stay on the surface. They can be very superficial in a way. And so this is probably going to be a good way to be indulging this Jupiter energy on Thursday, because Friday we come into that exact trine with the sun and Mars. And this is, like I was saying, it's the energy surge of the week. If you're feeling like a little extra energy, we've got the sun in a trine with Mars. And this is big time energy. It's assertive. It's confident. It's not afraid to be themselves. It's very much the ability to just naturally be who you are and be confident with that. There's an ability to manifest here beyond no other. The sun is our personal identity, and Mars is our action. This is our physical body, our desire to make things happen in our life. And this is also creativity. There can be a lot of creative abilities that come out with Sun trine Mars. And this same day, March 7th, we also have the moon coming into a T-square with the nodes of fate. So this is a very fateful day. We have some big energy. We have some big questions coming through. We have Jupiter and Gemini exaggerating and pushing things to the max and blowing everything up. We have a very confident Sun and Mars here, and it's like very courageous, very, very daring, actually, and can be quite impulsive. And Mars here and the Sun are big energies who can create a lot of conflict too, and be kind of aggressive and shoot first and ask questions later. So, taking care of this energy and taking care of our energies is why we would study the astrology, know what's coming up, and then have the ability to hopefully be consciously aware of how these energies are playing out and how we're using them. So the leaning into the inquisitive nature of Gemini, and then on the morning of March 7th, we have the moon moving into Cancer, which kind of conflicts a little bit with this Sun trine Mars and the big Jupiter energy in Gemini. Cancer wants to contract. So we've just had big energy, and then during the morning hours of Friday the 7th, we have a contracting energy. The vibe goes inward, and we become all about private things and being more intimate and quiet. And Cancer is all about, Cancer's ruled by the moon and wants to, kind of pull in a bit and be more receptive and less outward. Mars is more outward and assertive. And then this Cancer moon is more inward and more receptive. And on March 8th, we move into a conjunction with the moon in Cancer. It's going to meet up with that Mars. Mars has finished a long time retrograde. Mars has been in Cancer for a long time, and Mars is the physical body. It's our warrior spirit. It's the masculine energy in the chart. Mars is in not its greatest place in Cancer and has been there for a while. But this week, I feel like is kind of the beginnings of starting to feel Mars pop out of that. The Sun coming through in this trine sort of invigorates and re-excites and invites Mars to start moving again and to start moving into a place where it's going to be more comfortable. And of course, that's going to be Leo, and that's not going to be for a while longer. We still have a lot of time with Mars in Cancer, our physical body being ruled by the moon. And so the mood very much changing for Mars every few days. And also on March 8th, the moon is coming into a square with Venus, because Mars and Venus are in a square, the two of them. So this is just bringing in maybe some emotional, maybe disparities, kind of like one's feeling one way and another's feeling another way. That could be the vibe kind of all day, running into people that are kind of just feeling different ways, and the energies are just kind of conflictual. Could bring in, even with the moon in a conjunction to Mars, that anger, aggression, annoyance, conflict that Mars can bring. And then on the morning of March 9th, the moon is coming into a conjunction with Uranus, which just brings a lot of spontaneity, surprise, and unknowns to the morning of March 9th. Then the moon moves into Leo, a fire sign, in the afternoon at 4 p.m. on March 9th, and then comes into an opposition with Pluto that evening, kind of a resurgence of that, the darkness and those tough places that Pluto can take us, and only just more lunar action on March 10th. I mean, it's a lunar infused week, and when the moon is making so much action and we have not much else to focus on, we're going to be going back to just the few things that are happening, which is Venus being very, very still, and Venus retrograde becoming a big focus right now. And also the Sun trine Mars, that big energy surge, that is going to be something that we continually feel and focus on. And also this Mercury sextile Pluto, just these conversations, these tough thoughts and communications about endings, transformations, taboo areas of life. So a very interesting week, but not as interesting as our full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo next week, which we will be talking about then. And I just thank you very much for being here with me in the cosmic community, letting me chat about the astrology. I'm Stacey Dredd, Galactic Ambassador, and I hope you have a really nice week, and we'll be chatting with you again soon. Take care. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.